Welcome to the SHU Sports Report, where we have all the updates on this past week's sports action. I'm Anthony Scone.
And I'm Chris Carrozer. Anthony, I'm going to start things off with some Sacred Heart football.
It was quite a thriller for those in attendance at the homecoming and breast cancer awareness game.
Sacred Heart had quite the comeback this weekend as they hosted the Quakers of Penn. It was a rough first half for Sacred Heart football, who was down 17-0 and then trailed 24-0 early in the third quarter. Something clicked for the Pioneers as they scored 27 unanswered points to take the lead. But in the final 2 minutes, the Quakers scored the game-winning touchdown to win 31-27. Being down 24-21, graduate student Aaron Donaldson gave the Pioneers their first lead 27-24 with 9:54 left by batting down a shovel pass and returned it to the house for 21 yards. He also added 5 tackles, while sophomore linebacker Chris Otterbridge had a game-high in tackles for SHU with 14. On offense, senior running back Jordan Meacham rushed for 2 touchdowns, while Sacred Heart's graduate quarterback Kevin Duke aired one out to junior wideout R.J. Trimble-Edwards. The Pioneers will go on the road and take on Dartmouth next Saturday in their last non-conference game of the season. Kickoff is at 6 p.m., or you can watch the game on ESPN+.
That was quite the comeback for the Pioneers. They still hold a 1-0 record in the NEC and could use a road win to gain some momentum heading into a very tough NEC slate.
A team that is still in the first half of their NEC slate is the women's volleyball team.
That's right, Chris. The women's volleyball team had 2 tough NEC conference matchups this past weekend as they took on Bryant and Central Connecticut State. The Pios split the weekend series 1-1. In the first set, the Pioneers found themselves down 11-5 as first-year Alex Polk and redshirt junior Liesl Nellis helped lead the comeback with a couple of kills. The match was tied at 23 when Polk captured the go-ahead kill, and then Sacred Heart won the match on a Bryant service error, giving SHU the 25-23 victory. In the second and third sets, Bryant didn't know what hit them as Sacred Heart dominated them both as they took each set 25-10. Liesl Nellis led the day with 14 kills, and first-year Sarah Cishek had a team-high 10 digs. The Pioneers looked for their second straight win over the weekend, but CCSU had other plans as they defeated the Pios 3-1 in 4 sets. After losing the first set, Sacred Heart responded with a victory in the second set as they jumped out to a commanding 12-3 lead. CCSU would come back and cut into the lead, but the Pios held on just enough to edge the second set 27-25. Leaders on the day for the Pioneers were first-year Emma Smallcombe with 13 digs and senior Megan Mondin with 3 serving aces. Sacred Heart is back at home at the Pitt Center for 2 games starting tomorrow when they host St. Francis University at 6 p.m. and then Robert Morris on Saturday at 4 p.m. Guys, make sure to come on down to the Pitt Center and cheer on the Pioneers.
If any fans can't make it to the Pitt Center, both games will be streamed on necfrontrow.com. Now for a little Sacred Heart field hockey as the Pioneers hosted Brown on Sunday at Yale's Johnson Field. The first half of the game showed a very explosive Pioneer team outshooting Brown 8-3 while scoring with less than 4 minutes left in the half. Junior McKenna Crawford would get the lone goal in the first half, with SHU going into halftime up 1-0. Unfortunately, Brown would come out firing, racking up 3 goals, 1 early in the second half and then 2 goals within 3 minutes before the 65th minute mark. Junior Marlena Kolener got one by the Brown goalkeeper, but it was too late for a scoring run. Brown would walk away with the win, 3-2. Sacred Heart field hockey gets back on the turf Friday as they head to Rhode Island to face off against MAC foe Bryant at 4 p.m.
Hopefully a conference win for the field hockey team can help get their spark back and they can make a late schedule run with 6 games left. Make sure to stick around, Pioneer fans, because after the break, we will have more Sacred Heart sports action with this week's Update Corner and this week's Coaches Corner.
Welcome to this week's Update Corner. I'm Ryan Toohey, and we're going to get things started with the women's cross-country team. The team competed at the New England Cross Championships at Franklin Park in Boston over Columbus weekend, finishing 11th out of 24 teams. Juniors Jacqueline Thorne and Olivia Wise were the first 2 runners to cross the finish line for the Pios as they went back-to-back, with Thorne finishing in 42nd and Wise in 43rd. Preceding them was junior Bianca De Lucia as she came in 68th with a time of 19 minutes and 29.3 seconds. Captains Tara Connolly and Emma Carey completed the top 5 for the Pios. The grad student Connolly came in 71st at 19 minutes and 30.9 seconds, and the senior Carey came in 81st at 19 minutes and 41 seconds. The cross-country team is back in action on Saturday at the Vermont Fall Foliage Invitational in St. Albans, Vermont, at the Hardack Recreational Area. Now we'll throw on our spikes and shin guards and join the women's soccer team. The team traveled to Central Connecticut State last Friday for an afternoon showdown, and what a showdown it was. Both teams are at the top of their games, especially on defense. Senior goalkeeper Nicole Sambuco had a sensational game as she put on a clinic. She made 11 saves on the day, including 7 in the first half. However, Sambuco was finally conquered in the second half, as CCSU finally put one in the back of the net at the 61st minute mark. Unfortunately for Sambuco, the Pioneer offense had trouble all day long taking shots. The team only had 5 shots on the day, and only 2 of them were on goal. The Pios took the loss 1-0. The women's soccer team returns home to Park Avenue Field tomorrow afternoon as they take on the Seahawks of Wagner College for a 2 p.m. NEC Conference matchup. And finally, we'll move on to the women's rowing team as they opened their fall season this past Saturday at the Tale of Housatonic. The team would take on Fairfield and Iona. The highlight of the day was the Novice 8 event, in which the Pioneers took first place, crossing the finish line at 22 minutes and 39 seconds, nearly a full minute ahead of second place Fairfield, who came in at 23 minutes and 32 seconds. The rowing team will be back in the water on Saturday in the City of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, for the Navy Day Regatta. And that's all we have for this week's Update Corner, but standing by is our very own Gino Ganello with the men's ice hockey head coach. Gino?
Thanks, Ryan. I'm here with the Sacred Heart men's ice hockey head coach, CJ Maritolo. Coach, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.
Coach, let's get right into things here. You know, you guys had a good season last year, and we're moving into this year. What kind of differences do you see in this year's team compared to last year's team?
Well, right off the bat, looking at comparing last year's to this year's team, we were a very young team last year. We only had 2 graduating seniors. And now fast forwarding it to now, we have a real nice mix from seniors into our new group of freshmen. And so I think the biggest difference is experience. We have a much more veteran-like team, guys that have played a lot of hockey for us and played in big situations for us. So we're excited about where we are right now as a group. And I've talked to the guys a lot about that's probably our greatest strength is we have a lot of guys returning from last year. And we finished the season with a lot of confidence. It also could be our greatest weakness as well. Because as we all know, it doesn't matter what you did last year. You got to start over and build that confidence again. But I think our guys have done a great job preparing. So more veteran-like team, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, and like you said, you guys have a much more veteran-like team this year. Yeah. Well, you did lose a couple guys last year, but the core is basically intact.
Yes.
Who are some of the guys that we should look out for this year?
I mean, our senior class is led by Liam Clare and Mike Krokock, 2 captains of our team that play with a lot of poise, play with a lot of grit, and they lead our team on a daily basis. You know, and we have, I hate to single anybody out, you know, but our junior class, you know, you have Vito Bavaro, who's our returning leading scorer. He's an explosive player. Austin McElmurray had a tremendous year last year for us. Our sophomore group is led by Mark Johnstone, who was voted by his peers as an assistant captain going into this year. So I think that says a lot about what he means to this group. And with the freshmen coming in, I hate to single anybody out there. They were all recruited for a reason. We value what they bring, and they fit in very nicely with our returning group.
Well, and like you said, you have a lot of also youngsters this year. Yeah. About half your team is underclassmen.
Yeah.
How do you see those guys contributing this year? And I know you said you didn't want to single anybody out, but maybe a sophomore or even one of those freshmen that you see really breaking out this year.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be a program about growth. And I think every player evaluates their game at the end of the years. We evaluate ourselves as coaches and what areas do you want to get better in. And I think our group, I mean, we're hoping McElmurray takes a jump. We're hoping Vito takes another jump. We're hoping Johnstone takes a jump. I mean, Steve Halladin, who's a senior this year, has looked tremendous so far in preseason. So we expect him to make a jump. I think all our guys returning, we're looking to expand their roles, gain more experience, and improve their game just a little bit. Because if they all improve their games a little bit, that'll make our team that much better.
Yeah, and it's an exciting time for you guys. Season's just about to start. You got games this weekend against Northeastern at Webster Bank Arena. For us fans, what should we look out for? What should we expect when we come to see you guys take the ice?
Yeah, we talk a lot about that as a staff, about how do we want to play. And we talk to our team about it too. And I think what you're going to see, our team identity, we want to be hard to play against. That's with the puck and without the puck. We want to be physical. We want to be heavy, and that just not means by how much someone weighs, but we want to possess the puck, have the confidence to make plays when we have the puck, and we want to be fast. And I think you're going to see our speed and how we are relentless in our attack, trying to chase down a puck, and how we try to push the tempo offensively. So that's going to be our team identity, I think, hard, heavy, and fast. And our guys are looking forward to Friday night. Like, it's been a long preseason, and our guys are ready to, take the cover off at Friday.
And we're ready to get out there and support you guys and that exciting style of play. Coach, thanks for coming down. We wish you the best of luck this season.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to head to Webster Bank Arena for some Sacred Heart men's ice hockey as they get things started off tomorrow night at 7:05. After the break, Anthony and Chris have more SHU Sports action coming your way.
Welcome back, Pio fans. We will keep this show moving right along with some men's soccer who had two tough matches this past week. First up for the Pioneers was conference foe Mount St. Mary's this past Friday. The entire game didn't go according to plan as Mount St. Mary's did score the first goal at the 25-minute mark. SHU did not back down, however, as Sacred Heart found their stride in the second half. The Pioneers came out firing with 11 of their 19 shots, all coming in this final half of regulation. They finally connected in the last minute of the game off junior Oscar Curris' set piece, which found first-year Arnaud Daniel, who netted the game-tying goal, forcing the match into overtime. In the 98th minute of OT, SHU continued that momentum as senior Elias Uvar scored the game-winning goal for the Pioneers. Sacred Heart would walk away with their first NEC win, putting them at 1-2 in the early NEC season. Men's soccer continued their three-game road trip, taking on UConn, who is currently sitting at 20th on the United Soccer Coaches poll. Sacred Heart they fought hard in the first half and were rewarded as Chorus assisted a goal made by first-year forward Segundo Navarro, scoring at the 40th minute mark and going into halftime up 1-0. It would take the Huskies 26 minutes to get on the board and tie the game up at 1 apiece. Unfortunately, an own goal in the 89th minute mark of regulation, Sacred Heart would fall to the Huskies in a hard-fought 2-1 loss. Men's soccer finishes out its three-game road trip against NEC foe LIU Brooklyn tomorrow with a 6 o'clock start time.
Last but not least, we previewed women's ice hockey last week and talked about continuing their winning ways from last year. Anthony, the women's ice hockey had a strong opening to their 2018-2019 season. The team had a home and home over the weekend against Post University. In Game 1, SHU was the host team and dominated Friday night, leaving the Sports Center of Connecticut with a 6-0 shutout victory. 5 different Pioneers scored goals, with junior Victoria Grimmer leading the Pios with 2 goals. Both senior Haley Payne and first-year Samantha Shoebottom ended the evening with 2 assists and a goal each. In Game 2, the Pioneers didn't slow down as they scored 7 goals. 6 different Pioneers scored in the second contest versus Post, with senior Brooke McGreen leading the Pioneers with the final 2 goals of the game. Senior Katie Stuvey, junior Jane Lewis, and first-year Kelly Solak all came away with 2 assists apiece on the day. The Pioneers will go 2-0 over the weekend and look to show everyone they're going to continue how they ended last season. SHU is on the road this week for a 2-game series as they head up to the University of Maine this Friday and Saturday, with game time set for 2 p.m.
You know it is amazing to walk away with a 13-1 goal differential to start off your opening weekend.
Maine will be a tough series for them to get their feet wet with road games. And of course, we wish all of our teams the best of luck in the coming week of Sacred Heart sports action.
And guys, be sure to tune in next Thursday for all of your Sacred Heart sports updates, highlights, and more. From all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, I'm Anthony Scone.
And I'm Chris Caiozzo. Thanks for watching.
And